like if you're already married in that situation, like God can redeem all things. Like it's
yeah.
But if you still have options.
2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody? It's the Stumin podcast.
Hello.
I have no idea what episode because it's been like 3 years since we've done this. So
Yeah.
we're just going to call this season 2.
Episode 1.
Danny painted all the brick behind us for season 2.
Yeah.
It's very aesthetically
It's a little bit
pleasing.
A little bit edgier.
Yeah, just
This is the edgier season of.
this is going to be the dark, twisted side of the Stumin podcast.
We're going with the edgy.
You'll know the
theme this
vibe by
season.
the color of the wall behind us.
Try
So you said you wanted to open today, and I'm scared of what's about to
You should
happen.
be.
So what you got?
So, bacon. First of all, where do you
Amen.
stand? Like pro or anti?
Oh, I mean, isn't this like, are you saved or not saved? How does a Christ-fearing, Jesus-loving man not appreciate bacon?
I mean, it's in the Bible, in
God's
the book of
gift.
Acts.
to
God told Peter, "Rise up and eat."
yeah. It's,
Remember,
bacon
people.
is elite.
If you don't get anything out of this episode, God is speaking to you and says, "Rise up and eat." It's an eat or be eaten world. Okay, so the question is,
Can you imagine someone inviting you over for breakfast and serving you turkey bacon? What a letdown that would be.
I think that's an act of treason
Yeah,
against America.
Yeah. So I didn't know you hated me. Okay.
So here's the idea. Here's the question. What food should you not pair with bacon?
Ooh.
So I'll explain a little bit. The original, while you're thinking, the original question is, what food should you not wrap with bacon?
Okay.
So, like, that's the original idea.
Okay.
But of course, like, as I've had this conversation with a lot of people, you kind of get to pretty quickly the things that are like not physically possible to wrap with bacon, as you can imagine.
This
So-
feels like a challenge we could put into practice.
So we can get there. So the heart of it is more like, what should you not wrap in bacon?
Okay.
But like, it evolved also into just in general, what should you not pair with bacon?
I mean, wrapping food in bacon does take very meh food and make it elite. Like, asparagus is fine,
yeah, it's okay.
but if you wrap it in bacon,
yeah,
it is so unbelievably good. Man, I mean, like a filet mignon.
yeah,
Like, what wouldn't be good wrapped in bacon? I mean, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You think there's a chance on this?
Oh, listen, this is a whole nother. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast. I've told you about this, the peanut butter jelly burger.
Yeah, you have told me
There's
about
bacon on that
this.
burger.
Oh,
and
dude,
it works. If you
I don't
like
know.
peanut, 100%, like, I will call my shot. If you like peanut butter and jelly on its own,
yeah, I love it. It's
if you like a burger and you like bacon on its own,
people who don't like peanut butter are strange to me.
I mean,
Like, the only
Yeah.
exception is if it's gonna kill you. Okay,
there is
fine,
a
but-
phobia. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but one of those like weird phobias. It's a fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. So if you have that phobia, seek help
You're missing out over
and
something
then go
ridiculous.
eat peanut butter.
I've never experienced peanut butter in a way where I'm like, oh no, I can't get it off the roof of my mouth. That's never been a problem in my peanut butter experiences.
It's a phobia though. It's out there.
but
It's diagnosed. So yeah.
it's diagnosed.
But if you like
What?
peanut butter and jelly on its own,
I don't
separate,
know, man.
and if you like a burger and bacon on its own, every single person that's fit into that category has liked the two together. I've not met one yet, and I've introduced a lot to this concept.
All right.
Maybe I'll just have to make it sometime.
So you're not gonna give me peanut butter and jelly.
I can.
What else could you wrap bacon around and it's just nasty? Watermelon.
Oh, no.
I don't really like watermelon anyways, but I don't think bacon's saving it either.
You see, because like a lot of people will bring up foods that they don't like, and the question I ask is, you don't like it on its own, but will it be better with bacon?
Right, but I think that's the right judge, right? Because I'm not excited about asparagus, but if you wrap it in bacon, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'll eat asparagus for the nutritional qualities, but I'm not like, yay, asparagus. Yeah. So, I mean, I think fruits are going to be an easy, like, what if you wrap bacon around a banana?
Watermelon's a fruit, right? Yeah, watermelon's a fruit.
Yeah, watermelon's a fruit. It's got the seeds inside.
Yeah.
What about a banana?
I'll say, though, have you had, like Brazilian steakhouses do this, where they, like, coat a banana in, like, cinnamon and caramelize it?
No.
It's warm. It's weird because it's a warm banana.
Yeah,
so
but banana and cinnamon's different than bacon.
But, like, if you wrap bacon around that, I think that's elite. I'd be curious.
I don't know, man.
I would try it.
That's okay.
I haven't tried it before, but I think it could be elite.
I think most vegetables, I'm going to say yes, wrap bacon around it. So
I think most vegetables you should wrap bacon around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, just because you're adding something that might not be healthy doesn't take away the health properties of the vegetable. So it's still...
If anything, you're offsetting the unhealthy
cancels each other out.
You
You can eat an infinity amount, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What would be examples? Like, what are things you've come across that you're like, I wouldn't wrap bacon around that?
Actually, the most interesting one I got from like young adults Bible study. One person mentioned, I'm gonna have to look it up. It's a fruit that I've never heard of that apparently you can't get in the U.S., which is already a great start.
It's a Cuban
it's called
fruit.
noni.
Noni?
Noni.
Never heard of this.
He says it tastes like vomit.
Oh, good. Yeah, I don't think bacon would make vomit taste better.
And like that's why he was like, it tastes so bad that I don't even think bacon will make it better. This is what it looks like. It looks like a diseased potato.
Yeah. That
Look it
looks
up.
like something off of
Noni.
Star Wars, dude. Like, that is crazy.
It looks like a diseased potato.
Yeah, that's... I'm trying to think outside of the world of produce. Like, any protein that is coming to mind is immediately better with...
The best argument I've heard, the best one I've heard so far is brisket.
I disagree.
Because, like, brisket, if you think about it, it's already fatty, generally. Like, you know, a lot of cuts of brisket are going to be fatty. It can be salty already.
Do you think it would make it, like, worse, though?
I don't think so.
So, it's acceptable. It's an acceptable idea.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a meat that I can think of that, like, bacon wouldn't pair with.
Yeah.
I think any meat would be fine.
I think, like... Again, a ribeye would be fine, but I'm like, a ribeye already is so good that like bacon doesn't necessarily elevate it.
Yeah. So is the question that it has to make it better? Because I agree.
Well,
like I don't think a ribeye is
the other way
less
around,
without bacon.
If we think about it the other way around, we're trying to think of things you should not.
Okay. Because like if you're like, I've got some bacon in this ribeye, I'm going to cook them together, I wouldn't be mad at you.
Yeah.
About
Or
it.
if a restaurant, like I could see a restaurant serving me that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know how we talked about the stump the Stumin?
This is it.
I think we just did it.
We did it.
So
yeah, they couldn't do it with theology, but you did with bacon.
So this is how this question came to me. I ran into one of the guys from our band at HEB.
Okay.
Like after I checked out, and like we were both walking out to our vehicle. So I ran into him there and they were going on like a guy's trip, like a guy's retreat. And he had just a stockpile of just a bunch of random food, like asparagus and just a bunch of veggies and a bunch of other random stuff. And the premise was they're going on a guy's retreat and they're just going to try to wrap all of this in bacon and eat it, which is such a guy thing to do. Like ladies, you cannot understand the mind of a guy if you hear that and you're like, why? A guy will hear that and say, that makes total sense.
I don't know. I feel like the guys out there should know that if a lady's not okay with this, she might not be the one.
Oh no.
If your girl is not into putting bacon on things, then I don't know. Like
if you're
it's a red flag. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if you're in the dating world out there
it's-
and that's where you're at.
Like if you're already married in that situation, like God can redeem all things. Like it's
yeah.
But if you still have options. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had that. So then it was like, several days passed. And then it just that came to mind.
Hit you
and then I was just like,
wait.
what can you not pair with bacon? I haven't found an answer yet.
Yeah.
I haven't found an
Candy.
answer that, because like, well, still,
Like, I don't know, like a Twizzler with bacon wrapped around it. You think that has potential?
I mean,
We might have to do this at camp. This might be our camp game for this summer.
oh man.
Does it pair with bacon?
Yes,
Will it bacon? That's the game for camp.
Because like the sweet and salty still work. And even the, like, I could see a world where the sour and the salty still work.
I don't know, man. I'd have to experience it because I'm not
Though,
getting there.
the one answer that like I've been like, okay, I think I can see that as like a block of salt. Because it's like, yeah, that's just a lot of salt.
It's a lot of salt.
That's
But
a
I mean,
little too
like, that's
much.
not something you're eating ever.
But like
So,
the answer that people have given that I've been most like sympathetic towards are things that bacon already does really well, which is like the fatty and the salty, and just like the wrapping. It's something that bacon would bring it over the top, like way too salty, way too fatty. But even still, the fatty, like you can wrap a block of butter in salt in bacon, and it'll still be.
fry that baby up.
Oh,
and,
man.
Dude, that sounds so good.
You probably have to go in a coma after that.
At the Iowa State Fair, they serve a deep fried stick of butter. Like, you can buy it.
Man, my stomach.
I don't think
hurts
people in the
thinking about
Midwest
that.
are living very long, but they're happy.
But they
They're
are
gonna die-
living good.
They're going to die happy.
Oh,
Awesome. All right, you want to dive in? Coming off of the bacon conversation, we got actually a pretty heavy conversation to have today. The question is this. There are many times in my life where I feel broken and like I don't matter. As a Christian, I often feel ashamed for thinking this. Have y'all ever felt this way? If so, how have you handled these times of exhaustion? So Danny's got a lot of notes to share. I'm going to just start off by talking to whoever wrote this, and anybody who identifies with this is you are 1,000,000% not alone. These feelings are very normal life feelings. It's very normal to feel broken at times. It's normal to deal with thoughts about, do I matter? And does it matter if I'm here? And as a Christian, it's normal to feel ashamed for these things and question, should a believer in Jesus deal with thoughts like this? And so I definitely would just want to encourage you to spend some time exploring where in the Bible you might find these types of things. Because what you're going to find is like the book of Ecclesiastes, which may or may not have been written by King Solomon. You're going to find lots of these feelings, and the author unpacking these things and trying to deal with them, trying to find solutions, and at the end of the day going, I don't know what to do because I've tried everything.
Yeah.
And it's not working. You're going to look in Psalm,
Yeah.
and you're going to see David writing lots of songs of rejoice and praise, but lots of psalms of lament and just, God, where are you? God, why is this happening? Types of things.
Yeah.
And so when we look in scripture and we see that the authors of the books of the Bible also felt these things,
Yeah.
it's going to provide us with a lot of peace, and we can start from there to build towards some helpful answers. What you got?
Yeah, I think just echoing all of those things, one of the lies that the enemy is going to try to tell you and is telling you is that you're alone, that you're the only person that feels this way, that it's wrong for you as a Christian, like you're a bad Christian if you feel broken, if you feel like you don't matter.
Yeah.
But like Greg pointed out from the Bible is that it's the opposite, because it actually draws you closer to what a lot of the Bible deals with. It draws you closer to what a lot of authors from the Bible felt and went through. I mean, I think of Jeremiah, who goes through his ministry and it's just harsh. They don't listen to him. If anything, Jeremiah faces persecution. And then on top of that, Jeremiah lives through one of the most awful events in the Bible. That's the destruction of Jerusalem at the hand of the Babylonians. So Jeremiah feels that. Ezekiel is called to ministry and to preach and stuff like that. And yet the things that he's called to do are unbelievably hard. Like he's called to lay on his side for, I forget how long, for a long time, and eat food cooked over burnt poop. Like that's rough. And
That's rough.
you know, we'll laugh, but
He
like,
wasn't
he had to do
wasn't
that.
like he was feeling the weight of that. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just like, oh, I trust God, so I'm just good with all of it. It was like, that was tough. I think about like the story of like Noah. When like the boat lands and God's fulfilled his promise to protect his family, like you think you'd be filled with hope and like seeing God see you through like this event, this flood that's like taken out all of like human life and God has spared you.
Yeah.
And like, instead of like rejoicing and praising God, like he goes and he like gets drunk and puts himself to shame.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, he's feeling lost and helpless.
Yeah. And Isaiah is like called to go preach his message, but God's like, also, no one's going to listen to you. So have fun.
Yeah.
And then like to go back to the Psalms as an example, in a lot of ways, the things that you're feeling asking this question takes you really close to where a lot of the Psalm authors are at. So here's like some examples. Psalm 31, I've been forgotten like one who is dead. I have become like a broken vessel. Psalm 22, I am a worm and not a man, scorned by mankind and despised by the people. Psalm 42, my tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all the day long, where is your God? Psalm 88, one of the darkest Psalms. Like, you know how a lot of the Psalms are kind of like a little bipolar, where David's like, I'm so sad, but God, like, you're really awesome, but I'm really sad. Psalm 88 doesn't have a happy ending. It just stays really dark and depressing the whole time. And it says, like, you've put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions of dark and deep. O Lord, why do you cast my soul away? Why do you hide your face from me? Psalm 73, love this one. But it says, when my soul was embittered, when I was pricked in the heart, I was brutish and ignorant. I was a beast. I was like a beast towards you, God. Like that arrogance and ignorance and opposition, even in a lot of ways, towards God, because the author of Psalm 73, because of what he sees in the world around him. And yet there's this redemption arc in Psalm 73 where he says, nevertheless, I am continually with you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and after you will receive me to glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is nothing on earth that I desire besides you. My heart and my flesh may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever.
Yeah, I think that like the conflict between the human condition of hopelessness and the hope we have in Jesus are often at conflict in our minds. And I think that what the immature believer believes or says is, well, if you're close enough to Jesus and done everything right, you're not going to feel these things.
Yeah.
And we see the heroes of the faith constantly dealing with these things.
Yeah.
We see a consistency, like in the book of Ecclesiastes. Once again, we see that when somebody just faithfully pursues all of the answers they can think of, not necessarily for self-gain, but just to find the meaning and purpose and hope in life, them coming up empty, it leaves us in a place that God intentionally wants to find us in this life. And I mean, really the entirety of Scripture is like the Old Testament, and the law that we see is meant to bring us to this place where we see clearly without a doubt that apart from God, hopelessness does define us. So that when we are in those seasons, we must look towards the only source of hope, and that's Jesus. A couple Wednesdays ago, I know you were out, we talked about why does God allow suffering? And if you weren't there on that Wednesday, I'd love to talk to you more about it, but really like what it comes down to is God knows that through suffering is where in suffering is the most effective way to bring us to him.
Yeah.
That in our suffering, we see our need for him. It creates endurance. We see that in James and Romans. Yeah. And that the reason that James says to take joy in suffering is not like this sadistic, like God just wants you to like take pleasure in pain. Yeah. But that God wants you to see when you face trials, you can take joy in those things because you know those trials are showing you your need for Jesus, and your hope in Jesus is that he is who he says he is, And so you're not left hopeless, that this place of hopeless feelings and emotions takes you to the stronghold that Scripture talks about being Jesus. I don't remember what camp it was. Maybe it was Winter Blast a couple years ago. We talked about the stronghold a lot. And when Jesus calls himself a stronghold, that imagery is that a stronghold being a safe place from the storm. Like, right, if you're out in the wilderness and there's a wild storm raging and trees are falling around you, and you find you find a bunker to hunker down in and you close the door, it doesn't make the trial go away. It doesn't eliminate the storm of life.
Yeah.
It gives you sanctity from it. And so following Jesus, isn't Jesus saying, like, trust me in all of your struggles and trials and hard things and bad feelings, and all these things are just going to melt away and you're going to frolic through life, just ignorant of the problems of life because everything's good in your mind. But rather, in the midst of the storms of life, you can come and find safety in Jesus. And that is a beautiful place to be. It is a place where you find the most closeness with Jesus that you'll ever feel, is in the midst of when it doesn't even make sense to find hope, that you rest in the stronghold that is Jesus and you find hope in him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. There's quote from Charles Spurgeon there's a blessed stillness in my soul, in the depths of my soul, though on the surface the storm rages. Because if you think about it, when storms rage across like oceans or lakes, big bodies of water, like on the surface, the winds are blowing, the waves are doing their thing. It's just chaos. But if you go down deep underwater, I mean, I'm not an oceanographer, so like I don't really know what the water does down there. But at least we can picture, like, down deep underwater, like the fish are just doing their thing. Yeah. The water is still, I mean, currents still do their thing, but the water is still, and everything is just as it is. Even on the surface, the waves are doing their thing and crashing around, and the storm and the lightning and the thunder, and deep down the fish just swim. Yeah. And so for us, like, our life can be that on the outside, and we can experience all those things, and yet inside we can come to a place because of what we find in Jesus. We come to that place of peace and security and trust. But it's not a denying that things are rough. Like, I think the heart of the question, even of like feeling ashamed for feeling these things, is that lie that, like you said, that, oh, to be a Christian means that everything should just be happy and good. And so I've been teaching through Philippians on Sunday mornings in Young Adults Bible Life. We started just recently. And Philippians is a book that's full of the theme of joy, like over and over. I think probably like 5 or 6 times Paul expressly says the word rejoice. And it's just over and over. And I rejoice in my circumstances. I rejoice because these things are happening. So it's easy to see Paul as like a really naive optimist. And like those people can be kind of annoying, right? Like when someone's like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be fine. Like it's gonna work out. And not gonna lie, sometimes I'm that guy. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, everything's gonna work out. God's got it.
I'm not pessimistic. I'm just a realist. Yeah. I tell my wife.
Yeah. But one of the most interesting verses that like really hit me recently, like going through Philippians, is in Philippians 2. Paul's talking about Epaphroditus, who's the guy who delivers the support, like the financial support and aid that the Philippians are bringing. So Paul's sending the letter back with this dude Epaphroditus. And what he describes in there and why he's sending it at the end of chapter 2, he says, because you have heard that he was very ill, like you were anxious for him because you heard that he was ill. Indeed, he was ill near to death, like he nearly died in this journey that he took to deliver the support to Paul. And so Paul says, because of these things, like I'm the one who wants to send him to you now, so that you may rejoice and that I may be less anxious. And we're like, this is Paul. This is the dude who's like, I rejoice in every circumstance. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he's like, I was genuinely anxious because this brother was near to death. In other words, like Paul, who you might picture as being like the ultimate optimist, is really like real in a moment where he's like, it's okay for me to be anxious because this brother's gonna die. Yeah. And what that teaches is Philippians, although it's all about rejoice and have joy and all these things, it's also okay for us to be real and understand, like, we're not just washing away all the things that we're dealing with, all the things that we're struggling with, those feelings of being broken and feeling like you don't matter. We don't just wash that away under the idea of like, oh, just be happy and just rejoice, right? It's okay for that to be real. And yet at the same time, somewhere deep under the surface, in that walk with Jesus, in that closeness that you feel with Jesus, you can come to a place of joy and contentment still through it.
Yeah, that's so good. Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30 says, this is Jesus. He says, come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Yeah.
So like, first of all, Jesus' assumption is this is stuff you're going to go through. Like he knows you're going to go through this stuff. Like he's not saying like, you shouldn't feel this way. He's like, hey, if you're heavy laden, if you're laboring, so he's saying if life's hard, if things are weighing on you, come to me, I'll give you rest. And then he says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. And then he says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And that word yoke, it's a tool used in like old time farming that would connect two farm animals together so that they would walk straight in the same step to keep the plow even, to plow the line. And so Jesus is saying, yoke yourself to me so that when your emotions or the difficulties of life or just the very real things you're going to deal with, the Bible never tries to say like, oh, come on, it's not that bad. The Bible's like, yeah, life is hard and you're going to face hard things. And when you're in the midst of that, what we tend to do is we tend to drift away from God in those times. That's just our human nature. And he says, yoke yourself to me so that you will stay in step. And he says, my yoke, it is easy and my burden is light. And so this heaviness, this weight that you're feeling, Jesus does offer you a sense of freedom from it. He doesn't say, I will take all of your trials away, but he says, if you need someone to carry your burden, come to me and find your rest here.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I want to say about the question. So the original wording of the question, there are times in my life where I feel broken, like I don't matter.
Yeah.
Here's the beauty of the gospel and what I love about even the heart of this question. The gospel is you're more broken than you realize, and you matter more than you can imagine. Like at the end of the day, our sin and our sinfulness is so much worse than we even understand. Yeah. Like our heart, our sinful condition is so much more broken. There are so much more evil things in my flesh and in who I was than I even understand today.
Yeah.
Our heart, like John Calvin said, our heart's an idol factory. Jeremiah says our heart is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? We find in our heart these deep, dark desires that even we see in David, like the goat, one of the goats of the faith, and yet we see what he does in committing adultery and murder, right? And like, I can't say that I'm a better guy than David. So we are so much more broken than we even know. And yet you matter so much more than you can imagine, because the heart of the gospel is that God so loved you. God so loved you that he sent his one and only son to die in your place, so that in believing in his name and trusting in him, you will not perish and face what your brokenness frankly deserves, but instead you'll have eternal life. Yeah. And that's the gospel, which is one of those, because like the question is like, what do I do with those things, right? Like, how do I feel this way? And what we've set up to this point is you feel this way, and that's totally okay. Now, what do you do with it? And I think step one is preaching the gospel to yourself over and over. You're more broken than you realize, but you matter so much more than you can imagine.
Yeah, and if you take kind of the ecclesiastical approach of just like trying to find meaning in the things of this life, what you're going to find is like the psychology of this world wants to tell you, like you say, it feels like I'm broken, like I don't matter. And the world wants to say to you, like if I think about how like a non-Christian psychologist would talk to you, they would say, that's nonsense. That's a lie. Of course you matter. Of course you're not broken. You need to find within yourself the way to overcome this. And you're left with, well, it was within myself that got me here. So what do I do with that? And there's no path forward.
Yeah.
What the gospel does is it says, of course you feel that way. Your sin has broken you.
Yeah.
And it made it so that you shouldn't matter. But instead, and the gospel, if it stopped there, that would be brutal. It'd be brutal. But it's true, and the gospel doesn't leave us there. It says, but Jesus came and said, this brokenness you've brought upon yourself, it must be justified, it must be atoned for, and I am going to take that burden from you if you would trust in me. And so when you're preaching the gospel to yourself, I love how you said that, over and over, what you're preaching to yourself, what you're saying to yourself is, yes, I was broken, but Jesus has made me whole. My value is not defined in what I've done, but what he has done.
Yeah.
What I've done is not enough, but what he has done is more than enough. And when I trust him and what he's done, there I find the value I seek so badly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, isn't it amazing that like every other religion, philosophy, psychology, whatever word you want to use, is going to preach like you can find the solution inside of yourself. You can work yourself out of that.
Yeah.
Like you really aren't broken. You have to find a way to fix that or piece those things together. And instead, the gospel and the Bible just gives you the freedom to say, you know what? Yeah, I am broken.
Yeah.
But then it gives you a real, and ultimate solution to your brokenness. And I think, like, in my mind, at least, that's step one. That's where we start from, and that's where we go to every single day. And then I think a step to go forward from there, too, then, in dealing with processing those feelings is pray to God often and be honest with him, right? Again, we talked about the Psalms. We talked about Ecclesiastes, right? We haven't even talked about the book of Job and so much more. We talked about Jeremiah. Jeremiah has a point where he's honest with God, where he's like, God, I'm sick of this. Like, what are you doing? Habakkuk has the same thing. God, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't understand what's going on. What are you doing? And it's okay. God welcomes us to do that. He invites us. That's the heart of come to me, all you who are weary and broken. I will give you rest. Take my yoke. Is the first step is be honest with God, and then pray. Ask God to just help you. It might not change tomorrow. Like you might not wake up tomorrow and just feel 100% free. Maybe God does do that.
Yeah.
It might not. Just keep praying. Just keep coming to God every single time. God, you know what? I still feel this. Where are you? What are you doing? Show yourself to me. Help me walk through this.
Yeah. And then a follow-up to that would be first talk about it with God. Next, talk about it with a believer.
Totally.
Find small group leaders or pastors that you can talk to. The amount of freedom that does immediately come from sharing my struggle when I'm going through stuff is unmatched.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the gift of Christian community that God gave us, is to be able to share our struggles with one another and just be there to pray for one another and find people who will pray for you and with you and walk alongside you. When the follow-up question is, as on the original question, I often feel ashamed as a Christian for thinking this. I want to free you from that and say there is no shame in feeling the burden of your brokenness. Like, our sin is legit. The brokenness our sin brought upon us is real. And I think that feeling ashamed for those things is the first step in trusting Jesus. You have to come to a place where you understand the weight of your brokenness.
Yeah.
But as a Christian, because it says as a Christian, once you know Jesus, the goal should be to allow Jesus to carry that burden, because it's not your burden anymore, and to live in the freedom that he's given. Now, that's not a perfect, like, once you get there, you're always there. You're going to struggle with these things.
Yeah. Totally.
But to know that those seasons where you're carrying that guilt, or you're carrying the burden of feeling broken, and you have that ashamed attitude about it, to know what to do with it. And it's that process again. Preach to yourself the gospel. Remind yourself of God's goodness. Go to him in prayer. Be honest. Find a believer to share your struggle with. And those things seem simple, but they will change your life. And my guess is if the person who wrote this was right here being honest, when they wrote this, they weren't doing those three things.
Yeah. Yeah. And with what I'll add on to that, like last step of going and sharing with someone, I mean, it takes a lot of bravery, honestly, and honesty to ask the question to us in this context. But here's the beauty of taking that step to then go face to face with another person is we can answer this question and talk about it here in a really broad brush strokes. But your situation, your story, while it's not unique, and what I mean by that is we all face different forms of this, and we face these struggles and we face these doubts. There are unique things to you. Like there are reasons why you might feel the way you do. There are things that you might be going through that and experiences that you have that are going to be the backstory of why you feel the way you do. And talking to somebody is going to allow you to be really specific and allow them to also be really specific in how they speak into your life and your situation, whether that's us, whether that's a small group leader, whether that's a parent, whether that's a friend, somebody that you can trust who will give speak biblical wisdom into your situation. It allows you to be specific, and it allows them to be specific in how they speak into it.
Yeah. And I just want to speak very directly to the person that wrote this or someone who heard this and goes, yeah, that's me. If you don't know what to do or where to turn, I think the first thing you could do, and inviting you to do this, is Danny or myself would love to just set up a time to meet with you in the next couple days or in the next week. If you're just like, I don't know how to even take that first step you're talking about, what do I do? Don't just hear this and shrug and go, I wish I could figure that out. Let us walk with you in that. Yeah. And church is designed like the way we've designed the community of church. I mean, especially here at Hayes Hills, is like, we want you to know where those places are, because it can be scary and you do have to be vulnerable, but you have pastors who love you. You have small group leaders who love you. You have Danny and myself working in student ministry who love you. And you can reach out to any of us and know that, like, the first response we're going to give is, yeah, I've been there. I'm not judging you because I get it. And whatever struggle you're walking through, I'm going to be there with you in that. Never once has a student bared their soul, and Danny and I got together later and we went, can you believe this loser? And what they're like, it's easy to believe, like, oh, I'm so broken, these guys are just going to think less of me. Be brave in the pursuit of living for Jesus. And sometimes you just got to be brave enough to go, I'm going to deal with this mess because I want to live in the freedom of Jesus and stop living in the guilt of my sin. Yeah. So do it.
And you're not going to be a burden. Because I know that's a fear that people have sometimes too, is I'm worried that I'm going to be a burden and weigh other people down.
If you come sit in my office and say, I want to follow Jesus better and here's my struggle, it will be the best part of my week to walk with you in that.
Totally.
Not because you're struggling, but because you gave me the opportunity to walk with you in that. Danny Pye feels the same way. That is why we do what we do. We make funny videos, and that's fun. It's nothing compared to when someone says, I want to follow Jesus better. Can you help me?
Yeah. It's why we're here. It's why we're it's one of the main reasons we're on staff at this church.
Yeah.
It's one of the main reasons your small group leader is in the room with you every single Wednesday night. It's the reason I got my degree in psychology. It's like, it's why we're here. So I understand if you feel like you might be a burden, but that can't be farther from the truth when it comes to these conversations.
That's why I got my degree in astrophysics.
Totally.
No, we love y'all. And we would love to walk along with you in your struggles. No, you are not alone. You are loved. Yeah, brokenness is a part of life, but you matter so much that Jesus died for you. So find your hope in him. We will catch y'all next time on the Stumin Podcast. See ya.
Later.
Stay close to Jesus.